All right. It's time for a little micro rant. I'm hiding in my van, having some peace and quiet for a few minutes. All right. So every month, Jeffrey sees a psychiatrist to check on how his medications are working, and really that's it. That's all the guy's doing, is just checking to see if the medications are working, or to add more, or which seems to be all these professionals want to do, is add more medication. Let's try more medication. That's, so last month, when it was time for Jeffrey to go to his appointment, I told him at the last second, because these kids tend to, my kids at least, if you tell them something's coming up, they become obsessed. And I'm going to say this word wrong, but I want to say it's like perseverate. I can never say this word right. Perseverate. Anyway, they become obsessed. It's like all they can think about. And so they talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And like, when are we going? Are we going now? What time are we leaving again? Can I bring this? How long are we going to be there? It's constant badgering until whatever it is happening. And because my son loves school so much, and shout out to Miss Ragsdale, because she has helped that, because Jeffrey loves school so much, missing school causes him tons of anxiety, and he doesn't like changes in routine anyway. And then you take away school where they have it set up so he is thriving in their environment. He only goes 3 hours a day, and he's given a break like every 15 minutes. So they have it set up so he can succeed. So because of that, he loves to go. And so last month, when he found out that he was not going to school that day, we had a meltdown. And by some miracle, I managed to get him in the van and get him to the psychiatrist's office. But then, you get to the psychiatrist's office, and for whatever reason, our psychiatrist is almost always running an hour behind. But you have to get there on time. You know how those doctor's offices work. So an hour in the lobby with a bored FASD teenager who operates at like a 5-year mentality. So if you can imagine a bored 5-year-old sitting in a doctor's office with nothing to do, because if I bring electronics and he gets angry, he's just gonna smash them. So yeah, the doctor finally got to see some of Jeffrey's behaviors that we've been trying to explain to him. Jeffrey was hitting, he was trying to break things, he was kicking me. We finally, got him in the doctor's office and locked the door behind us because he tried to run. He was banging his head on the floor, banging his head on the doctor's desk, just completely upset that we had changed his routine. And so the doctor, his first suggestion was to ship him off to Africa, and not sure how helpful that was going to be. But his next suggestion was add another medication. Okay. So we've been trying this other medication for this past month. Haven't really seen any changes in the behaviors. So in addition to FASD, Jeffrey's also diagnosed as bipolar. He's also diagnosed as ADHD and pica and RAD, and I think the last count there was like 11 or 12. But we focus on the FASD for the most part, because that really can explain everything else. But we also emphasize the bipolar because Jeffrey will have weeks at a time where we don't have any meltdowns, we don't have any behaviors other than the stuff that's not going to go away ever, which is the dysmaturity, the confusion, the ADHD like behaviors where he can't hold still. Those are going to always be there. But then he'll go through like a week or two where everything sets him off. Everything sets him off. Just, Jeffrey, you need to sit down and finish your dinner. And dinner's flying, and Okay, we can get through this. So anyway, new medication. Today was his next appointment, and this time, to avoid a scene, I let him know last night before bed, just right before bed, so I wouldn't have too much of the obsession, and let him know that he was not going to school today because he had a doctor's appointment, but if he could hold it together, and we didn't have any problems during the appointment, then he could go get chicken at Cane's. And thank you to the people at Cane's for making chicken that my children will do just about anything to get. And so we just had a little bit of the obsession this morning. What time is my doctor's appointment again? Because, they want the information, but they don't retain the information. So what time is my doctor's appointment? Am I doing good? I'm doing good, right? I'm being good, right? Lots of those questions. And then we get to the doctor's office, and there's a problem with the insurance. They're trying to tell me that I have this $159 share of cost thing, and I'm like, no, we don't have any copay for mental health services. So we finally compromised, and I paid it $16. But anyway, that had to all be sorted out. So I did something I never do, and I gave Jeffrey my phone. And thankfully he was in a good space and my phone didn't get smashed. But once again, we were waiting for well over an hour for our appointment. We finally get in to see the doctor, and I'd already explained to the nurse who did his vitals, yeah, new meds didn't fix anything. I don't think we need to continue with this medication, because I'm not giving my kid drugs if they're not going to do him any good. I mean, how much sense does that make? So we get in to see the doctor, and I tell him the same thing I told the nurse, because he apparently doesn't read her notes. And this is his decision. His conclusion is that Jeffrey needs to just make better choices. This is just a behavior issue. I'm sorry, what? A behavior issue? Better choices? I'm sorry, did my son choose to have brain damage from alcohol? Did I miss something there? I mean, sure, some of us believe in, pre-existence and choosing our life's battles, and I won't deny that. But let's face it, the child Jeffrey that's here now, he's not choosing to have brain damage. He's not choosing to have these meltdown moments. If there is one thing about my son, one saving grace about my son, it's that he wants to be normal. He wants that more than anything in the world, to be a normal, healthy child. He wants to be like other 13-year-old boys and be on the cell phone texting his buddies and hanging out and playing video games and all that stuff. He's not choosing to be disabled. Okay. So, it's time to change doctors, which means changing insurance. So we'll be applying for Medicaid, which I didn't want to do. But the only FASD psychiatrist in the valley that I live in does not take the insurance we currently have. But I think we've reached the end with this one. Choose? You just gotta choose not to be disabled? Alright, people. If you're living the life like we are, hang in there. Reach out to your community. Create a community if you don't have one. Goodness knows you need the support. And create an awesome day. Peace out.